Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. This is the second video in my ongoing series, My History in Board Games, where I take a look back at all the games I've played in chronological order since I started recording stats way back in January 2020. I will talk about my first impressions of the game. I will talk about plays I've had since then and what my thoughts are on the game. Is it still in the collection? Is it an all-time favourite? Those sorts of things. Each video contains 5 games that I'll talk about. So without further ado, let's get into game number 6 on the list. This is the first co-op game on the list, and this is Jaws, published by Ravensburger in 2019. I played it on January the 18th, 2020. It's a hidden movement game, one versus all, where one player plays as Jaws, the shark, and everyone else plays as characters from the movie. And it's a really interesting game because it's split into 2 phases. So you have a sort of hidden movement phase for the first half, where the 3 characters are based on the island, the Amity Island, and the other player is the shark, and they are hiding in different sections of the water around the outside of the island, trying to munch down on the swimmers that are taking the risks by going into the water. And the players are trying to use certain tools to locate the shark, to try and bring him to the surface, to protect the swimmers, get them off the beaches, close the beaches, those sorts of things. It's a very nice little puzzle. So you get a lot of games, the co-op ones, where things like Pandemic, where it's a giant map of the world and you're running around everywhere trying to put out fires, essentially. But this game is a very small location. This little island. It's completely surrounded by water, and it was my first ever experience of a hidden movement game. I played as a shark in the first game, and I just remember thinking the whole time, like, they're on top of me, because I know exactly where I am on the board, and every time they're discussing what they're going to do and which side of the island they're going to go to, all I'm thinking is they're right on top of me, they're going to get me any second now. And I felt so sort of trapped every move I was making. What was funny was a couple of months later when we played again, and I played as one of the characters, and it's crazy the flip of that when you don't know where the shark is and you're looking at all the water spaces around the island thinking the shark could be anywhere. It could be on the space right next to me, it could be on the other side of the map for all I know. So I like that about hidden movement games. It's the same as like Mind Management. It's very similar in that when I'm being hunted, I feel like I'm absolutely trapped for the entirety of the game. But when I'm the hunter, I feel like I have no idea where the other person is. But yeah, so very interesting game in that the first half is the sort of hunt section of the game, where the players are trying to locate the shark. And this operates as a sort of timer for the game, for the second half of the game, because the longer you take to locate the shark, the more benefits they'll get in the second half and the less benefits you'll get in the second half. So it's not like something you can sort of take your time with. You really do have to work efficiently and save. So basically the shark, for every swimmer they get, they sort of move up this track, and when the round ends and you move on to phase 2, depending on how many swimmers they've eaten, is the sort of amount of these like extra cards that they get in the second round. And then the second half of the game is a complete switch. So instead of having an island and just hunting around this single location, you're now on a much smaller location, which is the boat, the Orca, and it's made up of 8 tiles. And this is the roles are kind of being reversed now. So the shark is trying to take you out, and so you position yourself on the boat, and then there you get to pick one of 3 of the 8 sort of spots around the boat that they're going to launch from an attack, either to get you or to destroy parts of the boat. And again, if you've caught the shark quickly in the first round, the players on the boat get a lot of nice weapons like nets and guns and things like that to make their job a lot easier. And the boat section, I think, works really, really nice, where the 8 sections have got like almost like 2 lives to them. So if the shark attacks and does a sort of normal strength attack, you flip that tile and it shows like a wrecked portion of the boat. So the boat's slowly getting destroyed from all different sections of it. And then when that section gets hit a second time, it's removed from the game, and then suddenly you can have the boat in 2 halves. People are in the water, sharks in the water. I think it's a really good co-op game. It can be a tough one to teach because the roles are so different. It's very hard to. I find that if you're teaching the game, it's best for you to be the shark. It's very hard for one of the other characters to sort of keep telling the shark, "Oh, you can do this, you can do that," because the information is hidden, and so the shark player might not realise what they're doing if they're doing anything wrong. So it's very much a game that I think works better that way if you're teaching it. But yeah, it's a great co-op game because of the IP. Everyone knows the movie. And it's just a lot of fun. A friend of mine did think that the shark was overpowered on our first play, but I've played enough games of this now to see victories, sort of both sides of it. Yeah, that's Jaws. We're sticking with the co-op theme with this game. It's Forbidden Island, published in 2010 by Gamewright. This is a game where you're a bunch of adventurers who travel to an island in search of treasure. The island is made up of square tiles, and it has a sort of pandemic-esque system to it, I guess, because you are trying to collect sets of coloured cards. Each of the colours represent a certain relic. You get a certain amount of those cards in your hand, go to that relic, it's yours. But then after all the players have had their phase of movement and other actions, that's when the island has its turn and a deck of cards is flipped. Some of them are not too bad. There are different sections of the island that are representing these cards, so when they get flipped, the tiles get turned over to a flooded side, which is like, one life. All the tiles have like 2 lives to them. And then the second time that tile comes up, it will get rid of that tile completely. So the island is being reduced in size, or sections are being cut off, and makes it harder and harder to navigate. It comes in the annoying tin boxes that the early Forbidden games and some other games come in that just don't sit on other boxes very well. It was a good co-op game. It was a gateway game. It was definitely one I ordered up early on when I was collecting, or starting to build up my collection. It was good for introducing to non-gamers as well. It's a very simple game, like the Pandemic games. These are what they're good for because it's cooperative, so it's easy to teach, all working together. And it's just simple process. You've got X amount of turns. These are the things you can do on your turn. This is what we're trying to accomplish. And then when we're all done, something happens to the island. Things change. Right, next round, we go again with this sort of new set of new information. I no longer have it in the collection. I ended up buying Forbidden Desert, which I think is just that next level up, although I haven't gone into the other 2 games in the series. So we just play with Desert now. But I think for anyone starting out and anyone that wants to sort of get maybe younger people or non-gamers into gaming and specifically co-op games, Forbidden Island is still a great game to go for. My first games night, my first games meetup of the year saw me try a copy of Parks, which was published in 2019 by Keymaster Games. My friend's copy had just arrived and they were really keen to show it off. And once they popped the lid on that bad boy, I could see why. This was the game that showed me that inserts could go to another level. Up until that point, it had been either sort of cardboard inserts or no inserts at all, just chuck the baggies in. But this thing, I believe it's a game trays insert. We've got several games in our collection now that have got their trays, and they are really, really good for storage and for assisting setup. But at the time when the lid went on that thing and I saw inside these plastic storage trays full of resources that weren't even rectangular or square, they were shaped like the sort of log resources you get in a lot of games. That sort of, cut down wood. It was amazing. And then you lift the lid on those and there's gorgeous wooden components inside for the resources, the water drops and the sun. And then you think that's the limit of it. Nope. The animal tokens, which could have been a single animal repeated, like the Triceratops dinosaur in Dinosaur World. No matter what dinosaur you get, you're getting a Triceratops. They could have done that with this one. They could have picked a specific animal and just made that the animal token. No. Every single animal was individual. This was... You look back at the games I've listed so far, and a lot of them, they look great. They got really nice components, but Parks was the first game that sort of grabbed my attention and showed me what games could go to. And the game itself is a pretty good game. All that high-level production would be a waste if you never wanted to get it out of the box because it was naff. It's a pretty simple game of very similar to Tokaido, where you're on a journey. You're going from one end of the board to the other. The differences here are the board changes and you play over several rounds, so that the track kind of gets extended and reset between rounds. And there's also a bigger emphasis on the set collection. Oh yeah, the cards, the gorgeous artwork of the US national parks across the cards. I find there are some games that really annoy me because they have things in them that are just good looking art or nice components, where it will ruin my game because I will go after something because of how it looks instead of how it will score me or benefit me in any way. And Parks was another one where I would chase really nice looking imagery, not caring that the cards were like scoring less or whatever, or they'd be really high resource heavy to claim, and I just put so much effort into getting this one card while everyone else was just scoring really, really well. So Parks is another one of those games that irks me because of how it controls me. Anyway, yeah, so Parks is a great game. We've never owned it, played it several times. We've also played the small box spin-off, which will come further down the line in my history of board games. Yeah, Parks, absolutely bloody gorgeous. So before we hit double figures, we get to number 9, which is Science Ninja Cowboy, published in 2019. This is the first Kickstarter on the list. And so I got into Kickstarter mid-2019, and this was the first game to arrive, and I was eager to get to the games table. This was the same games night as the grand unveiling of Parks. It's one of those card games that falls into the same vein as Exploding Kittens. You know, you have a bunch of cards in hand, you're trying to play nasty things to take down your opponents. The difference here is you've got lives in front of you, so some of your cards are face down. The game, it was okay, but it failed on, I believe it failed on 2 fronts. First of all, Exploding Kittens works because the game is super punchy. The artwork stands out for each of the different cards, so a couple of games in, you don't need to read what a note card does. You know a note card. You know what an attack card looks like straight away. You know the blue skip card. But with these ones, they seemed a bit convoluted, and it was very hard to remember all the cards regularly. You always having to read what the cards did, and there was a lot of different cards as well. Again, Exploding Kittens keeps it punchy because it's just got the base game has a small selection of cards that you can have in a game. And the other reason I don't think it worked is because the lives, while I found that okay, and you're slowly picking off the lives of the other players around the table, you can get those lives back, and that slowed the game down immensely. For a game that should be in and out in 10, 15, 20 minutes tops, you could have a game that's going on for 45 minutes plus. That's not a small box fun card game. But that's Kickstarter, you know. You don't know you don't know what you're going to get until it turns up. It wasn't a terrible game, and I think I held on to it longer because it was like one of my early Kickstarters. But it only got a couple of plays, and then it got buried, and eventually I got rid of it. So yeah, that's Science Ninja Cowboy. I believe an Exploding Kittens wannabe, and it fell just short. And so we reached the final game in this video, and it's Dead of Winter, published in 2014 by Plat Hat Games. This was my first favourite game, and I will do my best not to go on about this game for the next hour. Check the video time below and see if it went on for an hour. If it does, I'm really, really sorry, but I could talk about this game all day long. It's a semi co-op game, one where you play a bunch of survivors hiding in a colony during a cold winter, which also happens to be in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. And you are moving your characters around, trying to get supplies, trying to get weapons, taking out zombies. And it's just, it's such a fun game. It goes to another level because of that traitor mechanic, the semi-co-op thing that has going on, where one player could potentially be a traitor. And it's that. If you played a game with 4 people and you knew one of you was a traitor, I don't think it would work as well. It's somebody might be a traitor that just elevates this game. The first, I want to say 4 or 5 games I played of this, there was no traitor, but you would think that there was, the way we were acting towards each other. We were constantly on edge, constantly accusing people of things, and then to get to the end of the game and find out we were all on the same side and we lost because we didn't trust each other. It's such a clever little mechanic to have in this game. I've been the traitor a couple of times. It's really stressful because you need to do bad things. You need to hold back on resources but tell people you've got nothing. You've got to lie, and it just feels like anything you do, the heat is on you. But yeah, it was immediately a favourite of mine, so much so that whenever anyone new showed up and wanted to join us for a games night, it was like I would just declare that we're going to teach them Dead of Winter because it was my all-time favourite. It's also it's got this really cool thing with the crossroads cards. It's a massive deck of cards, and at the beginning of a player's turn, another player will take a card, and there's a little trigger on the top of it. And if that trigger is met, like a specific character is in location X, or if someone only has people that are in the colony, the game is stopped and a little story piece is read out. And then either that player is given a choice or the group as a whole is given a vote. And you'll get like an A and B. And A will be something where, you know, nothing really happens, carry on your way. But if you choose to do this quite bad thing, you're going to get a lot of rewards. And it just adds a lot of flavour to that. We're a group of people trying to survive the zombie apocalypse during the harsh winter. What are we willing to do to get by? And you have a goal for the entire game. You have little mini goals for each round that you're trying to accomplish. Usually things like having a certain amount of gas or medicine by the end of the round, which the whole game is designed to make you not trust each other. It is constantly asking you to give up stuff you need, and it's asking you to do things like root around for resources dangerously, drawing zombies in. So you're making people not trust each other, and then you'll let them know that one of you probably shouldn't be trusted, by the way. So everything you do becomes suspicious. It is absolutely amazing. I know some people don't really like it, but for me, it's not done great. We recently got to teach it to some friends of ours, and they came away loving the game as well. It will forever be in my collection. If I hear that you've never played it and you've got like 2 hours to spare, I will force it upon you. I'm sorry, but yeah, Dead of Winter, my number 10 in my history of board gaming, and a long time number 1 favourite of mine. And there we go, another 5 games in my history of board games. That's 10 down now, and plenty more to go for me to talk about. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with the releases of this series. You can find me on Instagram at alwaysplayblue, and also pop over to the website alwaysplayblue.com, where I have weekly reviews and a monthly blog on the go. But yeah, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. I've had a twitch on this eye for most of the video. I don't know if it's tiredness or stress. If you thought I was winking at you for the entire video, I'm sorry, I wasn't. It is just a twitch. So annoying.